Hey, this is Jenny Jones, Digital Growth Hacks Club. Man, exciting stuff today. Got a lot of things going on, man. I got like five things going on here. I released my Wednesday winner. It's a surprise to everyone. But I'd like to thank you guys for joining me here today on this live stream. I'm going to show you guys a couple things. Met with the founder. He broke in some different things. I was like, wait, does people know your tool could do that? So I like you guys for joining. I see you guys showing up. I knew Perry is going to be the first one in line because I've been telling her about this tool. Hopefully, you guys can take advantage of it. Let me know how I sound. Let me know. I always got to do a sound check because I never know. I never know how I sound because some of the things I have set up, and then I'll go back and I'll change some other things. I'm like, oh, I wonder how this sounds live, and I never really know until I actually go live. So appreciate you guys joining me today. So we are going to talk about new reply, and what I'm going to do is I'm gonna start looking at the deal a little bit. I don't see the founder yet. Um, I don't see him yet. That may be on me because he says, "Hey, remind me," and I'm like, if he's like me, he'll probably got caught up or something. But I did send out the memo to him. So let's take a look. Let's initially take a look at the deal here. Do 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 do. Yeah, he should be here. I don't know. Hopefully, hopefully I didn't let him know too late. All right, so who we got here? Perry. Who else is in the house? I know you guys are probably at work. Or you're probably on the grind. You're probably um, um, in commute, in traffic, whatever. So I appreciate you guys showing up. This is a different time, but I tried to make a time that worked out best for everyone. So let me tell you. So what I was sharing with you guys was this particular tool is for cold, super cold, like it is in my house right now. My wife turned up the AC. I think she did that intentionally, but this is for cold. Thanks, Perry. I think this is for cold emails. So let me share that. And I know the founder's going to be like, dude, I didn't know we were still going. I'm like, dude, we're live. So he's going to probably be mad at me. Let me add it to the stream. All right. The tool we're talking about is new reply. I want to make sure, trying to make sure. Did you guys have any initial questions before he gets on? So you can already have those preloaded. So write some of the questions that you have preloaded before he hops on. We're because I'm trying to connect with him now, and I'm like, dude, he probably forgot. That's on me though, because I told him, I says, hey, I'll let you know. Oh, here it is right here. Um, Let me see. You still on? So can you guys put your questions in the chat? Um, let's see. Yeah, so I just sent them a message. So yeah, put your questions in the chat. Like again, I said, this is for cold email, and I think what I like that they do is the AI that they built inside of it. Um, he supplies 9,000 AI cold messages on the highest plan. What is the cost? We need more. That's a good question. We'll definitely ask him that. AI cold messages. Yeah, and is that for a month? I gotta have to go back. Are they planning to add more social media platforms for AI to create? So, hey, Adrian. So here's the understanding, right? Let me see. I may have to call him unless he gave me a landline. Um, so here's the deal, and I think this is where the confusion is coming from, Perry. They don't. Oh, so you're saying Are they planning to add more social media platforms for AI to create? So messages to scrape, I'm assuming that's the reason why they want B2B. So I would think maybe their next logical step would be like a X or a Twitter, right? And that's a good question. It's mostly going to be for public platforms. It's not going to be like for a Facebook or maybe a Facebook business page or something like that. But that's a good question. We're definitely going to ask him that one. Um, yeah. So it's like, are they planning to ask? Hold on. Let me see. Is this him calling me now? Hold on. Let me see. Hold on. Continue to put your questions. Yeah, so he had a, family emergency, but he said he's still gonna hop on. He's already had to put that fire out, and having a family, I should know, right? I had an emergency today because the people's like, "Hey, we need to fix your faucet today." I'm like, "Dude, not today, not at 12, right? When I'm supposed to go live." So he said he'd hop on about another 5 to 10 minutes. He'll be on. All right. So questions is, does their webhook allow us to all send positive and negative replies to whichever CRM? Oh, does it include all details of the message, including? That's a good question. We're definitely gonna ask him that question. Um, I actually think it's you. That's an API question more than a webhook question. I'm thinking because I think the webhook information that they have, it just basically sends. I could be wrong, but actually, when I look at it, when I know when you import it, it looks at all the fields and stuff like that. So I will wait until he gets here to answer that question. Um, so yeah, we'll definitely wait until he gets here for that question. That's a good question. Again, like I said, I just called him. He says, "Hey, yeah, no, I'm coming, dude. I'm still coming." So more small businesses don't really use LinkedIn, but they are active on their Facebook page. Yeah, so that would be your question about adding more social media platforms. Um, it does scrape websites, so you may not want to. So they give you the option when you go in and you try to connect them, or when you want to send intelligent messages out. It says, "Hey, do you want LinkedIn, or do you want to scrape the website, or do you want us to scrape both?" Right, and then what it does is it just tries to find an intelligent icebreaker for you. Is, "Hey, I noticed you just landed a new account," or, "Hey, I noticed you guys just opened a new store," without you even having to go in and read all that. So that's a good question. We'll definitely need to be able to ask that question. Steve's throwing up with all the questions. You're able to crawl LinkedIn to gather information about the prospect. I assume that you have to supply the LinkedIn profile, correct? Do you supply our proxies as well? So no, you don't supply the LinkedIn profile. You can. I think I did one test where I actually did supply the profile, but if it doesn't, it's basically going off of the email that you supplied. So if it's John Doe at the builder company, right, and that's the same email that you use on LinkedIn, so it takes the email addresses, and that's the reason why I think even when Perry was asking, it takes that email address that's being used in the public and or on profiles like a LinkedIn, and then it's going and scraping that. I actually don't think that Facebook allows you to kind of scrape their stuff. Yeah. Oh no, I can't remember that one. And Webhook is a specific type of API. The main difference lies in whether the integration is native or not. Um, oh wow, that's great to know. Yeah, so yeah, they do. I don't. Did they have an API access? Let's look at it here. Webhooks, they appear. I don't know if they had an API. So see right here, when it comes right here, it'll say, "Hey." When you're pulling in the list, it'll say, "Hey, do you want your personalization to be," because the personalization is the icebreaker that it's essentially going to give you. Do you want it to be LinkedIn or do you want it to be web based? You want us to scrub the web for that link for that email address, or do you want it to be both? I think that's kind of what it does when it does that. And I know they have webhook. I thought the webhook was more for CRM and not so much as I think that's what it's for. Oh, you do have API access at the higher tier. So you do have API access at the actual higher tier. So yeah, that would be tier 3 and above. And I guess that would be a question for them to try to figure out what would be best for you. So I guess we'll wait until we. What is it that you did not? Great to know. What additional sources can we easily include to help craft the code messenger, or if it is limited to what a prompt plus like in LinkedIn? So I think you can insert, and he made it very clear to me when I was asking additional questions. Is why can't I do this? Why can't he says that's not what we're for? We're just really here to kind of break the ice and then maybe follow up. So you can go and insert your own messaging in it after maybe an email or two, maybe three emails. So maybe you have each sequence set up to do four emails. You can add and insert a fifth email, or you can delete an email and then add another one that you can add in as well. So you do have the ability to do that. Uh, so you do have the ability to do that. Let me Yeah, he said he's coming. So I know he had an emergency. Let me go in here. Let me take a look. Now, the last time we looked at it, I think I was having problems setting up my DMAR. Now, one thing I will tell you, let me see. New reply. Let me go into mine real quick. Now, I did have a challenge initially setting it up, and I don't even know if people can see my links. And here's the reason why. I was trying to set up a Gmail account because I was going to start cold emailing people with my Gmail, my domain. He's like, "Nah, dude, you don't do that." I was like, "Wait, what? Doesn't everybody do that?" He's like, "Nah." And I was like, "That goes to show you, I don't know much about cold emailing. I can tell you that." Um, Let me see. Where is it at here? All right, so let me see. All right. So let me get into my account. Let me show you guys. Uh, let's see. So, oh, wrong account. Let me get out of this. Sign into my other account here. Get into that. Ah, here we go. You get on yet? Where's he at? He said give him 10 minutes. All right. So, all right, let me share my tab. All right, so this is mine right here. And the question was on the so if we go to campaigns, so your question was here, and I think it says if you create a new campaign. So the way it essentially works is once you create a campaign, and this is what I was telling you the other day, Perry, when I was like, hey, you can't really use Nureply unless you have email addresses, right? It doesn't go out. It doesn't go out and find. Uh, it doesn't go out and find leads for you. That's why I was saying to pair it up with a lazy leads or something like that that gives you the email addresses and things like that. And that's why I thought it worked better with lazy leads, because lazy leads will go and do the scraping for you. So we'll go out and probably find those personalized emails and stuff for you. So once you have your list, then you can go in and do that. So if we went here, let me see. So what you do is once you have your list, it then goes and it says, hey, write with AI, duplicate a campaign, or start from scratch. So when you go from write with AI, you essentially, and so what it basically does is it finds your website. Once you put in your website, it knows your intelligence, right? You put in your website and then it says, okay, now we want to write and offer our services or whatever we want to offer to you, right? And you put your business name and then you put your keyword, your cold email there. Let me see if I could do, I don't know. Let me see. Let me see something here. Let me see. So let me get details from my site. That's one of the sites I'm working on. So I put my website in. I'm about education and self-improvement in that particular website. It says these are the keywords that we picked up on your website. And what we're going to do is it said, explain your business. And this is what the AI says, hey, it's a growth vision media platform dedicated to empowering individuals. So this is true. And you can go and you can kind of change this up if you want to, if you don't think it did a good job. But basically, they use AI to go use the address to get my email address, find my business name, and all that. Then it says, okay, so start writing sequence of emails. So now the AI is going out there and it's putting the emails together for me. So it came back with three it came back with three emails. And again, empowering growth together. That's my theme, right? And again, this is a B2C business model that I have. But I'm just letting you know how it would do. Um, um, oh, okay. He's here now. So all right. I'm gonna finish up. I'm gonna pull him in really quick. Hey Brad. You're muted there. Are you good to go? Yeah, I can't hear you on this end. If you were on, yeah, it shows you're muted on your end. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, it shows you muted. Yeah, hop back out really quick and then hop back in. Sometimes that fixes it. I don't know if you were on Zoom or something earlier. Yeah, so anyway. So here's what we have here. Hate that happened. Always something. So here's what it does. This is what it created here. So let's go into it and let's see what it created. So this is the email here, and it says, "Hey there," and then you can go here and you can say, "Let me put in the variable here," and you can go whatever the name is here. And this usually pre-populates from your list. This pre-populates from your list. So if it's a first name, last name, what have you, um, update your device settings. The original founder of Nureply has your YouTube videos online, still involved in the company. Not a big deal. Update your device settings. Update your device settings. Who, me or him? Well, I have no idea what you're talking about because you guys can hear me, right? Let me see if I know what you're talking about.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I got you. I got you now. Let me remove this from the screen. Well, let me finish explaining this point here. And what I was, Brad, what I was doing is I was just showing them once we got into the variations of an actual campaign. So I'll go ahead and let you take over. I don't want to start going. I want to get to their question because they've been waiting patiently for you. So I want
Got
to
it.
get their initial question. So let me pull this. Let me get this off the screen. Let me put this up, and I'm going to allow you an opportunity to reintroduce yourself. I think some people have some questions about um, you being involved with another company, and they still have those questions. So I'm going to put you in a single shot. I want to give you an opportunity to share with people who you are and what your project is on the new reply, and we'll go from there. Thanks.
Perfect. Great.
There you go.
Great. Hi, everybody. Brad with Nureply. Actually, the company is called Duo Circle. Nureply is one of our projects, and this is the second application that we've brought to the AppSumo community. Our first one knocked it out of the park. It's called DMARC Report. It's about email. It's about email authentication and making sure that your emails are configured correctly to get into the inbox. Everything that I do, 9 to 5, probably even 9 to 9, has to do with emails, whether that be stopping inbound emails from getting into your inbox, or authenticating your emails correctly, or delivering your emails. Duo Circle kind of has a product that touches anything to do with email and messaging. And for us, cold emailing is like the way that we grow our business predominantly. So I'm here, I'm ready. Let me know what I can do to help.
All right, thanks, Brad. And that was one of the things. It's funny because I have your other tool that came to AppSumo, and it does a pretty good job. And one thing I was telling people when I first met you is like, nah, dude, your emails over here is jacked up or whatever. And I was like, and I told people, I said, one thing I do know is they know email, right? I said, his company, they know email. So if he's telling you that you need to don't use your primary domain, there was a lot of secrets,
Yeah.
not secrets, there's things people should know if you're going to do cold emailing. So I said, yeah, I need to get in bed with these guys because that's what I need to learn how to do. So let's take a couple of their questions.
Jenny,
Did
can
you
I
have,
answer?
go ahead.
Can I quickly respond?
Sure.
So there's things that we do well, there's things that we do amazingly well, and there's things that I don't do so well. I am not a eloquent communicator, and because I sort of have a technical background, so
Right.
I like to skip down to the bottom line. So Jenny mentioned that he said uh, that I said, hey, there was a problem with your email, and he responded back and said, no, everything on my side is configured correctly. And then I go into problem solving mode. I'm like, here, I can prove to you that it's not all set up optimally, and let's attack this as a problem. Because my goal as sort of the manager here, is to make sure that our customers are taken care of from a technical perspective. Things work the way that they're supposed to work,
Mhm.
and that's like reading through some of the feedback on AppSumo. I think the biggest problem that people have is like the interface is a little bit too technical. They want it to be a little bit more marketing, and we're taking all of that and like absorbing it, and we'll be releasing some updates. But yeah, we make technical things for technical people that solve technical problems. So like we'll tone those things down and make it a little bit friendlier.
Okay.
Okay.
But one thing, rest assured, email is what they do, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, email is what we do.
Yeah. So there's a question here. Steve has a lot of questions. I want to try to sprinkle them out, right? So he says he supplies 9,000 AI cold messages on the highest plan. What happens if the cost if they need more? And so I think on your highest tier here, I think
So,
your highest tier is
I
9,000.
mean,
Go ahead.
so you can always approach us, right? Every company that goes on AppSumo has a goal, right? Either to bring in new customers because they have nobody, right? And they need something, and then they get word of mouth, and then they can sort of release. We're kind of beyond that. What we're looking for is just sort of expansion. Our hope is that these plans meet the needs of 90% of you. If they don't meet your needs, let us know. But also understand in the background that our goal is to have you grow. And when you grow, you'll hopefully maybe at some point pick a plan that is not an LTD plan. Maybe it's something bigger that you're going to need to grow your business. And then we can switch you from one time to sort of MRR. But for 90% of the people, they're going to stay on an AppSumo plan, and it's going to meet their needs. But if your business is bigger than what's in AppSumo, you'll keep your minimum stuff that you get with AppSumo, and you can just add stuff over here. I can't offer you something bigger than what exists on AppSumo. It's kind of against the rules.
Okay. And I think people need to know that. I think some people want to stretch it as like, hey, these are a pair of pantyhose. I'm going to try to, they're two sizes small. It's like you've outgrown it. And some people's like, yeah, your business has outgrown it. You're probably what you're making as your particular business as an MRR is making a lot of money. It's time to step up and get a plan that helps you continue to grow. And I think some people sometimes they don't see that. And it's like, oh, I want to be lifetime deal forever. It's like, yeah, you can keep your lifetime deal, but
Yeah,
if
I
your
mean,
business is growing and it's netting, then you might want to switch over. So,
yeah,
all right. So
you take a look at Wistia, Zapier. There's so many businesses that were able to take their AppSumo launch and convert it into MRR because they deliver for their customers. Their customers get their businesses get better, and then everybody grows. Sort of the tide rises all ships.
yeah, I love that. I think it's good to have that perspective from a founder come on and share that. So Perry's asking here. She says, "Are they planning to add more social media platforms for AI to create personalized messages?" Yeah.
Okay,
So right now it goes to the web, and then it kind of goes to LinkedIn. I
LinkedIn.
think she was wondering,
Yeah,
would X or Facebook be involved in that, or down the line, or
yeah. So I just want to make sure that we level set the way that we are using these social media platforms, and I'll use LinkedIn specifically.
sure.
We're doing this for our cold introduction, and we're also using this for building your emails on your side to convey your value proposition.
Hmm,
So we'll scrape your website at the very beginning. So you'll say, "Hey, I am a business coach, or I do this service." We'll absorb that, and when we're writing those AI emails, we remember that in the background.
sure.
And then you're sending an email to an individual, and that individual has either they belong to a company, so they just have a website, or more than likely they have a LinkedIn profile. We are not planning to absorb things from X because those are kind of like, you take a look at what Elon said, I think today, he's like, everything I said on Twitter last week was, I was wrong. Like, we can't sort of understand those signals
I see.
because they're kind of little conversation snippets. What we really are looking for is what you're saying about yourself and what others are saying about you, and that's on your web and on LinkedIn. We and maybe your question is, are we going to have more platforms that we're going to push messages out to? So I would say one of the most frequently asked for features, if it's not connecting to some CRM, whether that be a big CRM or some obscure one, is, hey, can you help me DM people or post onto LinkedIn? And right now, as Jenny said, like we know email down cold. We don't really have a great understanding about LinkedIn and timing and messaging and things like that. So it's probably our most frequently asked for thing, which is, hey, in our sequences, can we post to LinkedIn? It's in the ideation phase, but we don't sort of know enough about it. If you know somebody who's awesome at LinkedIn, have them get in contact with us, because that's really the piece that's stopping us, is kind of understanding that platform and how to post appropriately. And
Thank
I hope that answered your question.
Yeah, yeah, I think it did, and I think I kinda alluded to that. I was like, "Yeah, I think that they said it's B2B." So, normally you get into those other platforms, it becomes a little B2C a little bit, or even for a business page, they do have business page because what she's saying is she likes to work with small business owners as she's growing her small business database, for local businesses. A lot of them use their Facebook page. They don't use LinkedIn at all. And I think
Yeah,
that was more of maybe a Google My Business, right? Or a Facebook business page. So
got
that's
it.
kind of what
So,
works with. Yeah,
so Facebook has all of your content behind a paywall, right? So you have to authenticate in order to do that. And
sure.
even if I am logged in, I still have to join the page. I still have
Yeah.
to,
Okay.
like, there's a bunch of barriers that are
Right.
going to stop us from actually just grabbing that
Right.
data. But the Google My Business, yeah, like that's actually a pretty good idea, and we can take a look at that.
Yeah, I think Google My Business would be, and based on what you're telling me, I think that would be a next iteration. Because even if they're small businesses, if they're not a Fortune 500 or not a Fortune 100 or something like that, then it's going to be a local business, mom and pop, um, you know, restaurants or in a local area. if
Yeah,
they
I
they
get it.
may have a Google My Business page or something like that. So I think that would be a next
Yeah, makes sense.
iteration. Um, does your webhook allow us to all send positive or negative replies to whichever CRM we would like? Does it include the details and messages, including reply? So what is that?
Yes.
So,
So you asked for, does it do positive and, oh, sorry, positive and negative? Yes, it does. It does that. But I would urge you to rather use Zapier. So if your end output of your webhook is to go into a CRM, chances are Zapier already has that. So you can click add. There's a bunch of rules. If you don't find the rule that you want, you can trigger something else. But yeah, our webhook will do that. We also have, so you can send out, and as you might be dealing with like something in JSON format.
sure.
So as long as you understand, and by you asking for a webhook, I assume you're a little bit technical, but as long as you understand we're sending machine formatted data to another machine, you might have to teach it how to catch it and where to
Mhm.
map it. If it's that use case, try Zapier. If it's not there, let me know and I'll see what I can do to help you. Um, where people are using webhooks. Webhooks are super helpful to trigger an event somewhere else. So we have people who are using an inbound response to trigger a N8N workflow where they are going and getting additional data. Maybe they're looking up in Clay, they're doing some other things so that when it comes to responding to that prospect who's just responded positively, the salesperson or the SDR, depending on how big you are, has um, sort of pre-fetched data about that prospect, because in cold you're putting hundreds if not thousands of people in there. You don't really know who they are, but
Right.
when you respond you want to know. And we've got people who are automating all of that so that they have their data in one place that's all enriched. They do that over a webhook. But and then we use here internally Slack. So we don't check Nureply multiple times per day. If a message comes in inside of our Slack channel, we get responses inside of there. And I can show how that gets set up, but it's pretty awesome. So you don't have to be constantly logging in. We can notify you when a lead does something. Am I able to share from here, or is
Yeah,
it?
yeah, no,
Oh, cool,
we'll get to this.
great.
No, yeah, you can share. I wanted to make, because as you were getting ready, I told everybody, you had a family emergency, and we get that, things happen. So I wanted to get their
First
question.
day of first day of summer camp.
Oh,
Everything's a little bit wonky.
yeah, man, I remember those days. Uh,
I'm in
uh,
it. I'm in it.
does your warm up tool automatically remove emails from individual spam folders when they land there? Is it running a script to do this? I'm
Great.
curious about the warm up process.
Great. Excellent question. Okay. So there are services that are out there that are dedicated email warming services. Um, and we kind of all fundamentally work in a similar way. What what they have is they have mailboxes that are sort of talking to each other. You
Right.
bring your mailbox uh, and you send it to one of the recipients that are controlled. If it lands in the spam folder, it gets automatically picked up and moved into the inbox. Um, but those mailboxes are not really doing anything other than warming. So what we think that we bring to the table is, because every account that you connect to us and that you authorize for warming grows the pool. So now that account from Google or Office 365's perspective is not just receiving inbound emails that are warming emails that are being moved out of the spam folder. It's also sending out emails to people who it's never communicated with, like basically the cold outreach piece,
Mhm.
and it's interacting with other mailboxes, and then those mailboxes are moving things in and out. So having live mailboxes is, it's not really the secret sauce, but it shows more signals than just these mailboxes that are talking to each other that aren't sending other production messages that these services are getting signals on. And I hope that answered your question. And are we running a script? Yeah. So we use a commercial piece of software that we signed up with Google. if we're talking about Google here, we signed up with Google. They do a review of the way that the software, this commercial software works. It connects to your mailbox when you authenticate, and then it handles all of the like moving and maneuvering over OAuth 2, which is the connection methodology.
Mhm.
That's the safest way to speak to these mailboxes.
So I think this is another one. I think he was saying that it doesn't expect you to share anything proprietary, but do you have anything behind the scenes that allows New Reply to deliver better, at least just as
Yes,
good as Smart Leads or
yes,
Instantly?
yes. I am an AH.
What's an
That
AA?
I'm an
Oh, okay.
so
Like, wait, what?
yeah. So
Okay.
if you read the terms for New Reply, not even buried, it's not even about proprietary.
All right.
There are places we do not send email to. We do not send email to any free email provider because there's no business on the tail end of a free email provider. We do not send emails to role accounts. So if you're sending an email to support at or info at, we're not even allowing you to send those messages.
Interesting.
So because you can't send to role accounts and you can't send to free email accounts.
Hmm.
This is business to business. Unless you can, and now sure, there is absolutely going to be roofer San Diego at
Hot list.
freemail.com, right? Like that's possible, but
Right.
that business owner doesn't take their own business seriously.
Right. Right. I see what you're
So
saying.
because a domain is $7 and email is $1, right? Like, and that's what you're handing out, and you've been doing that on your business card or digital business card or whatever it is for 10 years now. But if you believe that your prospects are on free email providers, you should go to SmartLead is pretty good about vetting their clients. You should go to others who kind of don't, I'm not going to, who don't mind, because as long as you're bringing money, they will send emails. Our belief is that emails that have bad reputations or get marked as spam also impact us because we are part of your message flow.
Ah,
We're the intermediary, and we
got
can only connect to Google and Office 365 with so many different IPs, right?
right.
So if they say, "Oh, this email went to a spam trap," let's track it back, and it goes, "Oh, it went from spam trap back to the Office 365 account. Who submitted the email? Well, the email got submitted by IP number 1234, and then it goes, oh, well, let's take a look at who else 1234 is submitting for. And
Oh,
now other things become implicated.
yeah. So
So
now
yeah,
it comes back, the jig is up. Now
the jig is up.
now
So
everybody's stuff is blown up because I actually really like that.
I think that's it. I believe one of those providers that you mentioned, if
Sure.
you go back, they went through this because they basically damaged their connection reputation.
I
And
see.
then they started offering, hey, we'll send your email through your own dedicated IP so that your email isn't part of our pooled email. Well, yours is part of our pool, but I'm doing what I can to vet you and not let you shoot yourself in the foot. And we hope that the transactions and the emails that are going through are of sufficient enough quality that there's not going to be punitive action. And to avoid punitive action, we have hundreds of different IP addresses that we connect to um, these providers so that we sort of look more random. But take a huge step back. Google employs the most PhDs in the world. If SmartLead and Instantly and Woodpecker and all of those guys believe that they're smarter than the smartest company in the world who's focused on anti-spam, like it's a cat and mouse game.
Sure.
And we just want to play by the best rules, send the best emails, deliver the best way. And we have tools that help you to determine when your domain gets damaged, how to deal with these types of things. And our approach is like be reasonable from the beginning and don't feel like, sorry, I'm on a rampage here.
No, yeah,
Don't think that cold email is free. It's not free. Because if you want to send an email to 1,000 people
sure.
and you want to send 4 emails, so you're now at 4,000 emails and you want to complete that in a month. If best practices said that after warm up, that each account should send no more than about 30 emails per day, because that's what a regular person who's sitting behind a computer doing SDR work would do. They would find a contact, they would wait 2 or 3 or 5 or 7 minutes before they sent the next email, and it's trying to look as reasonable as possible. We're not trying to cram this stuff down Google's throat. And then the other thing that happens here is people who want to cold prospect with 2 mailboxes.
Sure.
If you want to cold prospect with 2 mailboxes, that's 60 emails per day you can send. Those are initial emails and those are follow-up emails. To get to your 1,000 sent, you're going to need more mailboxes. We don't sell mailboxes,
Sure.
but you buy them through Google and you buy them through Office 365, or you go to an SMTP provider and you buy from them. But expect to be spending like $100 on mailboxes just to do the bare minimum of cold.
Right. So if you're gonna, so basically what you're saying is if you're gonna do cold right. But if
Sure.
you do cold, it's gonna cost you to do it right too. And if the rewards could, you can have good rewards, but just know it's gonna I think a lot of people keep looking for free lunches. It's like, dude, there's no free lunch.
So that's why we don't allow people to connect to Gmail accounts either.
Mm,
You can't send outbound email from a free provider, because there are people who historically attached because you can go online and you can buy a Gmail account for $3, and then you connect it to, and it's like 6-month-old Gmail account, X number of dollars, and you can buy them in bulk, and then you can import them into a system.
wow.
And now you're sending, but we don't want that. We need people who are in business. Like, we're in business. We have our contact information on our website, and the support is 24/7, and it's all of those things. We're in business and we mean business. So
So
spend hundreds of dollars on your mailboxes and you'll be successful. 2 mailboxes per domain, maybe 3 mailboxes per domain, 30 emails each. It's just math. If you want to send 1,000 emails, you got to divide that by 30, and that's going to tell you how many mailboxes, and then divide it by 20, which is the number of days. 30 for the number of mailboxes per
sure.
emails per day, 20 based on the number of business days during a month. Maybe it's 22, and then you'll see the math. You'll need X number in order to just sustain that. And if you're doing less, like, you're going to get your outcome is going to be based off of your input.
Right. So can you show us, so what did you wanted to show us something? I want them, there's some Easter eggs, and I think you showed me, because I don't have a fully populated account.
Yeah,
I think there's some things that I wanted you to show the people why they're here. Because a lot of people are saying, right? So people came to me in my community, other as you get ready to share, at the bottom screen, it allows you just to hit share. And then, like, if you can see it at the bottom, it's just like
yeah,
Zoom or anything else. And the I was not convinced until I got into your ecosystem. I was like, oh, this is doing something different, because what you guys are doing intelligently is you're building this way to, if you're going to do cold email, you can do it right. We'll keep you out of jail, quote unquote, email jail. Will allow you to do that. But I noticed on the front end, you got to have a lot of things set up correctly on your end. And that was what I learned. I thought I can just pass the email over. And he says, oh, do you have your DMARC? I'm like, well, I kind of have a DMARC. And it's like, no, you don't have a DMARC. And we went through the testing. We
yeah.
found out that my DMARC was off, and they ended up fixing it.
Oh, they
So
did?
no, they fixed it the next day it got
Cool.
fixed.
Yeah, your
And,
provider fixed it on our suggestion. That's awesome.
yeah. So
It did
yeah,
take us some back and forth to get there. Okay,
yeah,
so
but
you
we
wanted
got it.
to, yeah, we got it.
Yeah.
But you also have to believe in the process. I feel like after I looked at your account, I'm like, ooh, we're not doing a great job of the way that error messages are presented. So
Yeah.
we went and spent the next couple of days to fix that, and we'll be pushing that so that the errors are more understandable rather than you having to escalate. Hey, are you able to see my tab?
Yes, we can see your screen here. And another thing with me is I'm a I do inbound marketing. I don't do outbound marketing at all, and I
Yeah,
definitely don't do cold.
yeah.
But I
Okay.
do want to do more cold this year because the game is kind of changing. AI is making things a little bit different. So
Mhm.
now I'm now having to find the people that I really want to find and then nurture them once I kind of get them in my ecosystem. So I am adding cold
Yeah.
email to my game. So I found new
Makes sense.
reply at the right time.
Perfect. So thank you for that. You had asked about an Easter egg. So uh, um, we, for the past 11 years, have been in the inbound spam filtering business. We run fishprotection.com, and we do a lot of spam filtering. We and one of the things that we sort of know is that the providers, both Microsoft and Google, want to tell legitimate domains a little bit about their reputation when interacting with Google and Office 365. Office 365 calls it SNDS, and Google calls it Google Postmaster Tools.
Mhm.
So I haven't seen anybody who has done this. So but we've been sort of head down for the past couple of months, making sure that New Reply worked. Um,
All right,
is
Steve. So this is here we got it because Steve,
Okay,
I guess he's the cold, he's the resident while we're here, he's the resident cold experience guy that
cool,
he's been doing it since 2001, which is a long time. So
long time.
massive
Yeah,
knowledge.
the world has changed for you. So, so I'm about to sort of publish or put out there like a best practices guide.
Yes,
Everybody's going to tell you about SPF and DKIM and DMARC, and
right,
then multiple domains, and then 2 accounts per domain, and like sending volume. But
right.
I haven't seen anywhere where people are like, hey, you need to connect these domains to Google Postmaster Tools. Why do you
Oh,
do that? Well, because Google Postmaster is where legitimate senders go to look at their domain
reputation.
reputation that's
Oh,
coming back from Google. So
oh.
we'll plug you into Google Postmaster Tools. We have a domain here called MailHop. Let me just see if I can resize that down a little
So
bit.
do you guys put us in automatically or you put
No,
our
no. So when you sign up for your Google account, because you're purchasing your Google account and you're going to get a Google admin account. When you do that, at the same time, you just go to Google Postmaster Tools, you'll log in and you'll type in your domain, it'll authenticate your domain, and now you have access to the history of that sending domain's interaction with Google. And you do have to send a reasonable enough volume. These things are sort of designed for brands and for bigger senders
oh,
to
I
get
see.
feedback and telemetry from Microsoft. But if you're sending tens of thousands of emails per month
Mhm.
in cold, we have people sending hundreds of thousands.
Right.
Um, so this data will start to get propagated inside of Postmaster Tools. And you can configure your Postmaster Tools to like just have one main account. Mine is all um, my sort of my oldest domain. All of these other ones are all tied into there. When I connect Postmaster Tools, it brings up all of the domains that are connected and then shows me all of the data that's sitting in there. So we'll go to MailHop, and here, uh, ideally, you keep your spam rate at zero point 0.3 and below.
Okay.
Anything that's going higher, so this is the spam complaint rate based off of user reported spam. So
Huh.
if somebody clicks the spam button inside of Google, Google will also trigger inside of their tool that says, oh, this domain got another negative score. How many emails did they send us today? Oh, they sent us 100 and one person complained. That's a 1% spam rate. That's massive. That's terrible. If you sustain one person out of 100 sending you to the spam folder, eventually you're going to burn through that domain. So you do have to send messages that have a level of engagement that aren't so annoying that you get spammed. And what we find is that most people are getting spammed on the fourth message. They're
Oh,
sending out the, hey, just touching base with you, this is what we provide. Then they're sending their second message, and it's like trying to bubble this up to the top of your inbox. And their third message is like, can we set a meeting? And the fourth message isn't, they're not adding value, they're just adding follow-up. And basically by the fourth time, when you've just sent follow-up and no additional value, somebody is like, okay,
Getting
you didn't
annoyed.
include an unsubscribe link, that's fine, but I'm going to click the spam button on you. And so you really do have to pay attention to this. While it's at the beginning not a two-way conversation, you do have to approach it that you have to be respectful. You're not sticking signs in people's face saying, you know, do this action. Like, you kind of have to be cool. So when you get a spam rate above 0.3% and you sustain that, your domain is getting damaged. And at some point, your domain is going to get so damaged that you won't be able to put, like, even the most perfectly formatted email to the right person with the right subject, with the right content, is not going to make it into their inbox. It's going to
Interesting.
get placed somewhere else. So you won't be able to do a lot on these IP reputations because you don't necessarily control your IPs, but you'll be able to see how good or bad your provider is, depending on the way that you have integrated with Postmaster tools. Then you can see the domain reputation. So us, even though we've had some days where the spam rate was at 0.7%, overall, Google is saying, yeah, that's fine, but we still trust you. And we've trusted you for months. Your domain reputation with us is still good. It's still high. And this is not us imagining things. We are literally just connecting to their API, and they are telling us what's going on. If there are delivery errors, like how many emails that we are trying to send to them have delivery errors, and maybe that's because of authentication. How many emails are passing DMARC? How many are failing SPF? All of these things count, and we're able to show this to you on a domain by domain basis. And we've incorporated this because we care about inbox placement. There's another Easter egg that we're going to be rolling out, which is going to be all about inbox placement. But it's because I think that we view it from the other side. We've tried to stop inbound junk email for so long, like we kind of know what we feel like we know what we're looking for. And the rest of it should be fairly familiar to people. Like, here are my accounts. My accounts are doing warm up. You can go here and take a look at this. You test your deliverability. It tells you whether or not your technical parts of sending, your DKIM, your DMARC, your SPF are all configured correctly. And then you add yourself to the warm-up pool. There was a great question, like, what do you do? So for this particular, with warm-up, here, for this particular customer, 30 emails were sent, 28 were sent into the inbox, 2 went to another folder. We saved those. So we did an interaction. We said, move these from the spam folder or wherever it went, move it to the inbox, and we interacted with that email. So our goal is to have as few emails over time that need to get rescued. And this is just sort of what warm-up looks like. And warm-up is never going to be perfect because you're interacting with live mailboxes on other people's email systems that have spam filtering and protection. Like, this stuff is all legit and real. And then we'll see if there's any error logs. Okay, so they tried to send to a bunch of people. These people have bounced because the message has been refused. So their spam filter or whatever they're sending to, these messages have been refused. So now these email addresses have been pulled off of our lead list so that we're not going to send to them again. If your service keeps trying to send to people that have hard bounced, it just shows Google that you're not listening. You're not showing the mail service provider you're not listening.
Yeah.
Not paying attention. So you've got to take care of those. So we have in there, we have suppression lists. We have like our do not contact list. Here's who they get added. We have domain level do not contact. So we have some people who come in and export their customers and put their customers into a do not contact list, so that just in case in the list of 3,000 or 30,000 or 300,000 they brought in, there's a customer that's in there. they don't want to interact with their customer domains. They like say, please block emails that would be going to these particular places.
Hmm.
Because
Wow.
you don't want to be emailing your customer if they're already your customer and offering them your stuff. It looks bad. Um,
So someone
can
said that there's like, hey, wow, instantly doesn't do this. I have instantly. I was gonna do a versus, and then when I pulled it up, right, I pulled up instantly because I haven't been in it in a while, right? I
yeah,
bought it maybe 2 years ago. Again, because I bought it with intent to do cold email, but I
yeah,
have so much success doing inbound marketing. I never did even get back to it.
yep,
So open up my instantly, and then I have two screens. So I open up my instantly, and then I open up my new reply on the other side. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, these two are not even close. To me, they're not even close. And I
yeah.
yeah,
But listen,
that's what you don't want to say because you're not an AH, right? Or something.
yeah, I mean, um, new, instantly is the 800-pound gorilla, right? Like
Right,
everybody connects to them, everybody loves them,
right.
and we have an Instantly account, and I love it when I need to send other stuff. Instantly is great. For us, it's not really a comparison between us and Instantly, because if you just want to add mailboxes and do these types of things, like Instantly is probably more than enough for you. But let me show you a campaign, um, and you'll see sort of some contrasts. They're not really like big differences, but there are definitely some contrasts in the way that we sort of view the world. So this is a campaign. I've already imported all my prospects, and I've already written my my messages, and my sequences are all done. I'm not going to be sharing that because it's not super relevant here. Uh,
Right.
you can see here that there are multiple domains that are being used. Use alumni forwarding, try alumni forwarding online. So
Mhm.
this is all coming from one sender, but from 3 domains, so that and I could add more and more senders, and it'll tell me whether or not that sender's mailbox is good. And if it's not good, don't select it. Go back and warm that mailbox up. You can also add tags, like maybe you want to group your campaigns together, or however you'd like to do it. I think everybody's got this, which is, do you prioritize your initial emails or your follow-up? Let's say you have 900 people you want to contact in 1 month, and let's say there really are 30 days per month, and you can send 30 emails. You have uh, taken up all of your slots for sending. So we want you to tell us, do you want us to send email number 2, or do you want us to keep sending more email number 1? That's really, when in a constrained situation, what do you want us to prioritize? First emails or second and third emails? If you want to prioritize sending to the second and third emails, well, maybe you'll only get through 900 first emails that month, because you've got 3 emails in a sequence. You've sent 300. 3 emails in a sequence takes you to 900. You only have 1 domain, 30 emails per day, 30 days a month. Like, it's just kind of math. And speaking of that math, we're going to be adding a math piece here, which says you have this number of domains, you have this number of contacts. This is how long it's going to take to contact the people there, depending on how you want to prioritize it. Stop after sending a reply. So if somebody replies to you, you can keep them into the sequence, but most people don't. They like, that's the trigger that either take me off your list, or they're going to be engaging. So we leave that on by default. The other one is stop a campaign for a company on reply. And I'm confident we could put better labels on here. Like when I'm reading this, my tongue's moving in a strange way, and I'm like, oh, I think we need to rewrite that. But essentially, let's say you have found 5 prospects inside of the organization that might be a good fit for you, because it's a giant org that you're emailing. Do you want us to stop sending to prospects 3, 4, and 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5, after one person has responded? So if you've gotten a response, do you want us to stop emailing to the rest of the people in the company? By default, it's off, but it's there because some people like doing account-based sales. And when you're doing that, you don't want to spam the company continuously if they've already told you to go away. Okay, here's one. Send emails as text only. So there's a debate about, do text only emails land up better in the inbox versus HTML formatted emails? We let you select. You can have it beautifully formatted. That means your links won't click. Their email client will have to, like, you can't say, click here to learn more and hide your URL. If it's in text, the URL is going to be seen. But we have found that sometimes sending that first email, especially because it's going to be less than 70 words, most people are not sending a link on the first email. They're not sending a calendar invitation. Text works well for the first email. So here you can say, do I want to send all of my emails as text, or do I want to send them as HTML formatted because I'm the best designer and everything's going to look awesome? Or send the first one as text and then do your follow-up in HTML. We also have ESP routing. ESP means email service provider. Again, because we're technical people trying to solve technical problems, we're not super friendly, but we can become friendlier. Like we really can. And based off of the feedback that we're getting on the AppSumo feedback, like we've taken those things to heart and tried to improve. It's the same way that I met Jenny. I said, he said, I'm having some problems. And I'm like, okay, let's just schedule a Zoom call. We're not trying to avoid problems. We're trying to find out, where did we let you down, so that we can address it over here and make things better. ESP routing. Where do you want your emails to go? If your recipient is on Google, so they've signed up for a Google Workspace account, or they've signed up for, well, yeah, Google Workspace. Do you want to send those emails from your Microsoft account? Do you want to send those emails from your Google account? So there is some belief that ESP to ESP mail gets treated differently than competing ESPs. So Google and Microsoft, they're big competitors, right? Well, maybe there's a slight edge if you send all Google emails through your Google account to your Google recipients, and don't let it use your other accounts, even though they're in your drop-down list of, here's the 50 accounts I can send from. If the recipient's on Google, send it through Google. Microsoft, send it through Microsoft. You can also have, if they're on some third-party provider, you can send it through your SMTP account, okay? And it's all just to kind of give people that little bit of an edge. And if there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and people are like, hey, it should be a text email because that one's going to win, and ESP routing, and that's going to win. Like, they're all available to you. Just like give it a try. Click tracking, open tracking. Oh, and we have unsub tracking. Okay, Google believes that, well, actually, Google, Yahoo, and the big guys, basically, if you're sending more than 5,000 emails a day, and at that point, you're typically going to be a brand, there are extra things you're going to need to deal with when speaking to these providers. And one of them is an unsubscribe. Most people are familiar with unsubscribes that show up in the message body. Like, you scroll down and you're like, if you don't want to hear from me anymore, click the unsubscribe link, and you can do that. But there's also something called an unsubscribe header, which is a machine-to-machine thing. So instead of it being in the body, it's actually in the message header. So if somebody here has Gmail or Google Apps, you've probably seen a little button that says unsubscribe, and it's at the top, right next to their name.
Yeah,
It's because in their header, they've included this automatic unsubscribe link. And then they don't have to put one into the message body. And we want to treat these mailbox providers nicely. We want to play by their rules. So we give you the tools to play by the rules. You can turn them on or not turn them on, your choice. And then we have some auto optimizes on A/B testing. So you're sending 50,000 emails. Do you want to optimize on the reply rate, on the open rate, on the click rate? Which one do you want us to pick as the best email out of your A/B sequence in order? Well, it can be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it doesn't matter, sequence. But chances are you are not sending enough emails to care to need auto optimization. You're going to care about it, but it takes a lot to be statistically valid. But we provide that feature. If you're like, hey, I've sent 200 emails and I've received 6 replies, 4 of the replies came from email A. I want to switch all the rest of my sending to email A because it's giving me a 30% better outcome. Great. But we don't know if email 1 and message number 3 are going to be the best combination. So just kind of use it with caution, or be sending a lot of email to make it valid. Safety limits. We want to look like a human is sending emails. It's very hard to do that, but we have a pause, which is how long should you wait between emails? And I think by default we've got it set at like 5 minutes. And then how many additional minutes do you want to wait before another email gets sent? And this is on a per account basis. This is not across it's a per connected mailbox account. It is not, this campaign can only send that. This is for each particular mailbox. So if you feel that finding contacts and valid contacts should take somebody 3 minutes to find them and then 2 minutes to write an email, then set your threshold at 5 minutes and maybe a randomization of 3, so that emails are going out somewhere between every 3 minutes and every 8 minutes. So Google is not seeing these 30 emails per day, because we have 8 hours to send those messages. They don't look like they're all happening at the beginning of the day. They look like a batch. They look like a regular cadence, as if somebody was doing regular human actions. And that kind of covers campaigns. We touched on accounts. Integrations. Somebody spoke about the webhooks piece for the integrations, like how do you add an endpoint and things like that inside of Slack.
I think
Yeah.
somebody had a question. I think BJ had a question. He said, "Can you send from Gmail?"
No. Okay. If your email address ends in @gmail.com, you cannot. If your email is a Google Workspace account and you pay for that every month, you can send from it. But you cannot bring in a Hotmail account, a Gmail account, an Outlook account. Those providers have consumer brands, right? They have consumer mailboxes, and you're the product on that, right? Because if you're not paying for it, they're either mining your data or they're sending you ads. So you're the product. And we don't allow you to send from a free email account. Why? Because you have no skin in the game.
Sure.
Like,
your reputation means nothing because you're just using a free account.
You're just using a free account. Like,
makes sense.
Go to one of the competitors, because I know that almost all of them allow you to bring in a Gmail address. I don't. Like, I just know the things that are going to get you screwed up. And it's
ain't no
like,
sense
these are powerful tools, and like, you don't need to.
One of the things my pastor said, he says, "Hey, it's one thing to take yourself down. That's just flat out nasty when you take everybody down with you."
Yeah, absolutely.
All right,
we've got some stuff here that we have not publicly released.
Oh.
Yeah, like a company, and it's not vetted yet. It's like, kind of works, but it's here. Tell us about your company. Tell us your business description. Tell us your industry. Tell us who your target market is, and then we are going to build a profile about you. And then you're going to tell us who your ICP is. That's your ideal customer profile. Tell us about them. Tell us what value you're bringing to the market, and why should they listen to you.
Is that going to be included in any of the plans over at AppSumo?
Maybe. More than likely, it'll get added. I don't know what number it's going to get added at, but okay. Like, we keep adding stuff because we want it to be better. And the other thing that we have that is I think it's in everybody's plan, is this concept of organizations. So the way I use organizations is, if I were an agency, each customer would be an organization all to themselves. So you can invite your customers into Nureply. Basically, you can bring them in as a member of your team, as a member, or and admin. Those are the two roles that we have right now. But
Sure.
sometimes people want to share the results with their clients, or you want the client to log in. So accounts that you bring in get brought in at the organization level, and it's like its very own empty Nureply account for each organization that you have there. So maybe you have a dentist, a barber, whatever. You can bring them in there because you'll define the company's profile at this level. This is going to let you define everything about the company, and we're going to pass that off to Claude or ChatGPT or whichever one we find to be the best one to come up with these cold emails that have your value proposition and your ICP's value proposition already sort of embedded in there. That's going to happen at the organization level.
All right. So
yeah.
no, I'm saying I have a couple more questions. Then we're gonna get out of here
Okay.
on this. I think someone asked. They said, "Hey, how do you compare Nureply to Sales Blink?" I don't know if
I have no idea.
I have no idea. I don't even know who Sales Blink is.
Yeah. So I commented to somebody on AppSumo, and they're like, "Hey, can you connect me to smishymama.com?" And I'm like, I asked Claude how many CRMs there are, and it said there are 1,700 companies that have CRM systems. We do not connect to them all. Zapier is there. If your thing isn't big enough to be in Zapier and it needs to be in Make or one of those things, we have an API. But like, we can't connect, nor it's very hard to compare because we do things a little bit differently than them. It's not better, it's just better for our clients. Like, our ideal customer is somebody who has a business, who has hundreds of dollars to spend every month, and they don't want to spend it on their Instantly account. They want to spend it on more mailboxes. And they're going to bring those mailboxes in here, and they're going to get a great return on that. And then they're going to grow that. And then they're going to go, oh, I've hit the boundaries of my 5th level AppSumo account. Let's do an upgrade. Like, we want to be so great that you forget that we were ever a LTD because we're growing together.
Ooh, love that. So, couple more questions here. Someone asked, "Do you have a tutorial
Oh,
for each
yeah,
feature?" He said, "Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that
So,
part
yeah, that. Okay.
from the
So,
from the technical email guys."
we tomorrow will have videos. In
Ooh,
each one of these onboarding steps, there will be videos that will be in here. They were recently recorded, like in the last 2 or 3 days,
ooh,
because after being on calls with people, you don't know how interesting it is to watch folks who've never used a cold tool
sure.
try to set things up, and you're like, oh, come on, the button's right there, oh, please, and they don't. And you're like,
Ah,
oh yeah, I can see where that could have been confusing. Like, you're voting for them because you're voting for yourself. So we learned a lot by just listening to people saying, "Hey, I've never done this before. This is all foreign to me," and maybe that lift was a little bit high. So we've recorded how to add an email account, how to bulk add email accounts, how to add a
mm,
Gmail account, how to create a lead list, so how to upload
yeah,
what
the
you
how
need
to
that are
create
in
a
there, how to
how to
personalize it.
how to add your workspace, your Gmail
Yeah,
workspace, that was a lot for me because you kept saying go there, and then they change their screen sometimes too. So I'm
got it.
trying to say you're saying it should be on the right, but it's not on the right.
Yeah.
So, and then another thing that is now I know that no, don't use my Gmail. Don't use that.
Yeah.
And
So
use
we've
my
got
FTP.
we've
So
got
yeah.
videos as of 2 days ago that are going to be imported into here. So in this onboarding piece, there'll be videos in each one of these, like what to do when you get a reply, how to personalize your lead list, like how to do all of these
I think
functions.
that's good. I think
The
that's what
videos are
people
already
need.
done, and they just need to be brought into the interface.
Nice. I mean, so I think
Oh,
Freddie's
oh,
asking.
hold on.
uh,
They're listed on AppSumo. If you go to AppSumo in the comments and you just search for YouTube, I think I've got 6 or 7 links that are already there. They're just not in here yet.
Okay. All right, make sure I get them so I can
Yeah,
probably
of
add
course.
them to this video. So I think Freddie's asking, he says, do you have to sign up? I said, do you have to sign up with the Gmail or Microsoft if you use SMTP? And the answer is no. Right?
Hold on.
'Cause
You have to sign up with Gmail. So if you
I think,
create
let
an
me see if
account
he,
with
I
us,
think, yeah,
you want to read
I
the whole
think he just
question? Or?
clarified it. No, I think he just clarified it. Do you have to sign a professional account with Gmail or Microsoft if you use SMTP? You just asked me the same question. Is it? I know Freddie. So I'm like, Freddie,
Oh, um,
what are you asking me? I think that's what.
yes. Even if you okay, no. So you don't need a professional account on Office 365 or Google Workspace to use SMTP. You can use SMTP by just going to a web hosting provider and signing up for an IMAP account. So people have done that. I'll tell you that there is an awesome product that's out there, like kick-ass awesome, that allows people to pick domain names and then say how many accounts do you want it to create, and you're like, oh, I want 7 domain names and 3 accounts per, and it's like, great, here's $694 and you have a massive number of accounts. But they're all going out of Enom because that's a web hosting provider that has an API that these guys tied into.
Uh,
Um, and that means what used to be a regular web mail provider, like, hey, Bob, meet me here, has now become mainly outbound prospecting. And that's not what they are built for. Yes, it can do that, but that's not what they are built for. So those providers have become ridiculously unreliable. And I think that there's a whole thing on Instantly about 2 of these providers. I'm not going to mention them because they may have cleaned up their act, but there are like treat it like you're going to a networking event, right? Don't show up like a schlub. It's not the cheapest way to get there, um, but but I do know that a lot of people have a tremendous amount of luck and success buying Gmail accounts from other countries. So there are people that set up and on Fiverr and things like that that will set up your entire all of your accounts, your SPF record, your DKIM, your DMARC, and things like that. And often those accounts are coming out of Google India or like Google Malaysia, where $7 is a lot. Like $7 in dollar equivalent is a lot of money over there. So
don't are you not giving any bad practices here on my live stream,
no,
are you?
no. You can buy a Google account from Google,
Uh-huh.
but just not in the country in which you reside.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it's perfectly legit.
All right. So Steve's saying he's gonna full stack, right? That's what he said. Steve's been asking questions since day one. He says,
Yeah,
can he book a personal call with you?
yeah,
The
all day
answer
long.
is yes. If you have additional questions, just let him know you're on the live stream, Steve, and you had some more questions. He'll say, yeah, Steve that had 5 million questions. Just all you got to do is say
Just
Steve that had 5 million
yeah,
questions, and he'll know
tell
who
me who
you
you
are.
are.
So no, I appreciate you stopping by today. What I wanted to do was I wanted to I saw how good your tool was. I think some people were hung up on the one taco thing or whatever. The only reason why I brought it back up is because that's the reason why I wanted to dig deeper. Is this really a one taco tool? And I pulled it off the shelf and I looked in and dug in. Dude, this tool is awesome, right? And then we found out that that was quote unquote some type of um um troll or because
Yeah,
even the stuff he was saying, and when I got into it, that's not true.
yeah.
And
So the
so,
taco is good. The one taco is gone. I
right.
don't know why the one taco is gone. I
Oh,
don't know anything, but there was a one taco review. I responded back. I'm like, get in contact with me. Like, show me your problems.
right.
Um, and then a couple of days later, that taco review disappeared. And then I think we've got 3 or 4, 4 or 5
Yeah,
star reviews that are there now. Uh, AppSumo is kind of a black box. Um, they know who is, uh,
legit, and who's not, and I
or
think
maybe who's fair and who's unfair. Like,
I think Perry was asking me, she's here now, I think Perry's asking, she's like, "Hey, I wonder what happened." So we know now Brad is like, "Hey, he didn't," because even when I first asked you about it, I was like, "I don't know who these people are," and so no, I was able to do I always do my own due diligence, right? And what I will tell you is since we've been on this stream, someone showed up and was saying so many negative things. I was like, who is this? So it's like some troll somewhere. I don't know. Are you guys creating enemies? Are you guys putting somebody out of business, Brad? What are you guys doing? You guys making people look bad? I've never had that happen before. I've never
Oh, really?
had, yeah, some person he's just like, nothing he's saying is true. And I was like, what? So I don't know.
Give them my
Brad,
email address. I'll do the same with them as I did with you. Like, put it out there publicly. Um, yeah, you can review my stuff. And
no, I mean just working with you and you spending time with me on a weekend. Was it a weekend? I think it was a
yeah, it was a
weekend.
weekend.
Yeah, we got to the bottom of it, and I was so much more relieved, and I was able to understand and use the tool. I was like, oh, this tool is freaking awesome. Then I says, can you come on the show? Because I don't think people know how much range and how powerful this tool is. And you're like, yeah, I'll come on the show. So he's here. So I want to bring him to you guys. Make sure you guys use the link in the description and or the chat and or the first comment of this live stream to be able to take advantage of Nureply. You definitely want to try to get one of the higher tiers now that Sumo Day is here. You might want to do that. Brad, any last words? I'm gonna put you on a single shot. Is there anything, is there any question that people keep asking on the AppSumo page that you think you just want to put out a blanket message so they just stop asking you, baby? Or one of them is, are you better than instantly? I keep seeing that. And I'm gonna
Yeah,
do a versus on that, and they're gonna find out real quick. You probably are.
yeah. I mean, show me a founder who doesn't think that they're better than the competition, right?
Right.
But to go back to that comment, that the one taco, I'm like, leave it there, right? Like, whoever had it said whatever it is, like, we learn from that. And the thing that I'd want people to say is support is available.
Right.
Email us, and if you want to speak to us about your situation, just, we can book it on the calendar. Like, it's not a big deal. I want to make sure that you're successful, because our growth is tied to your consumption and your growth in using the tool and you being happy. And you being happy is not that expensive for us. Like, we can do calls.
Sounds good. Yeah. So, hey, Steve wants to connect with you. So, Steve, go to their site. What is your
Just,
you guys have a help desk or something? They can go there and then say, hey,
yeah,
Brad
just
told me to
send us
reach out.
an email to support@nureply.com. You're going to get a ticket. These things
Yeah,
don't go into black boxes. We
right.
have service level agreements. We have agents who are answering tickets. Like, just say, I want to speak to Brad, and they'll send you my calendar link. It'll be for 15 minutes, because nothing takes more than 15 minutes.
Okay.
And
That's how I was able to get in because I didn't know you. And I was like, I
oh
got
yeah,
this big problem. Brad told me to reach out to him, reaching out to him. You got back to me then a couple of times, and then I had some major issues. And then on a Saturday, we connected and we went from there. So it's support at New Reply,
nureply.com. Yeah.
support at newreply.com. Thank you guys for joining me,
Oh,
man. This was a lot.
can,
This was
can I
very
do one? Can I do
sure,
one?
sure, Brad.
Uh, you said, somebody said, oh, Brad's associated with another company. I know that you put it at the very beginning, or that I said at the very beginning. So if you want to take a look at who we are, go to duocircle.com, duocircle.com. And we have a number of products that solve sort of narrow technical problems. So you may not know us, but the IT person at the receiving email company knows us, or the IT person at a bigger company knows us, because we have been known for the last over a decade at helping people solve email deliverability, inbox placement, spam filtering, outbound SMTP, like all of those types of things.
So it's duocircle.com.
Yeah, like two circles.
Got it. So you guys got that. So just in case you guys trying to, I'm telling you, when it comes to email, they are on it. They kind of know a lot of stuff. I've learned a lot from you, by the way. I mean, I think you know that already. I've learned a lot from you because I'm not a cold email dude. I'm
Yeah.
just not. But what I've learned, I'm like, oh, this is super powerful. So I really appreciate that. Thank you guys for joining us here today. Make sure you give us a thumbs up. Don't be leaving me out here doing these live streams for nothing. If you want to see the founders, you guys want to interact with the channel, give me a like so YouTube knows that we're putting in work over here. Use the channel, use the link to support the channel. I'll get $5 from it. Maybe I'll be able to buy a grande latte or something from it, from the sale. That's what it seems like. I was like, well, okay, thank you. Right. So, but no, I really do appreciate it. Thank you all. Thanks, Brad, for finding the time. I'm glad you got your emergency figured out with your kids
Thanks,
and
man.
all that other stuff. And we'll see you guys from sunny California. Brad's down there. He's in the best part. He's down there where all the wealthy people are. Hey, you guys take care. You guys take
Thank you.
care. Till next
Okay,
time. Bye bye.
bye.